Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Shantae, Risky's Revenge. When we left off last time, Roddy Tops just told us that the Squid Baron is in this forest. He's got one of the magic seals we're looking for, and we're looking for him. So, real quick, I suppose I should show you the map right here, because this forest can be a little bit confusing. That lower right corner with the cave-looking thing, well, whatever that is, that's where we saw Roddy Tops. And this forest is just like 4 layers of straight left and right areas. Scuttletown is right in the middle there. It's a little bit confusing to look at since it's got 3 layers of its own, but I'll show you the map more as we go through the game so you can kind of get a feel for where we're going. So this forest has areas off to the left and right that you can explore and find some different things, but most of it is stuff that we just can't get to yet, so I'll show you more about that as we're able to get it. And I do plan on making a few videos that are just about collecting secrets. Here's another one of these rock guys we can't do anything about. I do plan on making a few videos about just collecting secrets, so if you're worried about spoilers, don't worry, I'll tell you when those are coming so that you can skip them. But for right now, I haven't actually found anything that I don't need yet, so... Except a lot of money. I'm getting a lot of money, I'm surprised! If I really wanted to, I could go back to the shop and get another magical item, but since I'm trying to go through this in kind of a timely pace, I'm going to skip it for now. So that would be where the Squid Baron lives, but he wants a tasty meal, and so far all we have is a puppy. I'm not giving him the puppy. So the only other place to go is this other area that's off to the right. I haven't shown you the fireball yet, have I? How could I forget to actually buy it? How could I buy it and actually forget to show you? So what it does, it's a long-range projectile and it sets enemies on fire, and that damages them over the time. I tend to forget to use magic, like I tend to not use it very often, so I apologize in advance if I don't give you much of a show and I'm just using the whip all the time. Oh, well, what a coincidence. We need a tasty meal and we happen to have a puppy. If you say no here, she just rambles on forever, and it's actually pretty hilarious, but I won't waste your time with that right now. I think it's kind of too bad that for this little sequence nobody is saying anything, but just showing off more of their music, I think. Okay, so there is a little trick that you can do in this house, and please don't hate me for this, but I'm in a little bit of a hurry, and yeah, if you whip the puppy, you get 100 gems from it, and the chef doesn't seem to notice. I don't know. The dog doesn't come back. If you come back to the house later, I'm guessing so that's so you can't get the 100 gems over again. I don't know if what actually happened to it, how badly it got hurt. So that is a choice that you get to make as a player. I just wanted to show you that and have the money for later because there's some expensive stuff at the shop that we'll end up needing to buy, so... Alright, so... This would be the Squid Baron, appropriately named. I don't know why, but I just love jokes like that where someone fails to notice something so obvious, like, hey, that's a girl. That sounds like a fair trade. Magical artifact for one meal. He's going to try to smooth talk his way out of it by the look of it. Or maybe he's just an idiot. Even when I'm skipping the dialogue in this game, I always find that last line very funny. Alright, so we are in the first dungeon now. And these dungeons don't have maps, unfortunately. So you just kind of have to go through them and figure out which room is where. It can be a little bit confusing. That enemy just crawled out of that wall, so we know that way is hollow. But when you go through these a couple of times, you start getting a feel for how to get around and everything, so it's not too terrible. And of course, I know the way through these dungeons backward and forward. I finished this game several times, so I'll go through this just as quick as I can manage. This is why I like the fireball, because it's a reliable ranged attack. I suppose it's self-explanatory, but there's the magic meter up in the left-hand side. It's not regenerating when I use my spells, so I have to find pickups to make it regenerate. And yeah, what else would you do at a wall like that but try to whip it? So that's not a bad way to show you that some of these blocks can break when you hit them. Not all of them do, and there's not always clear which ones will. But it is usually just enough that you can get through this place as you're going through, so. And I know that that one breaks away, and the jar that's up there is your hint about that. And there's a little hole in the ceiling here. We'll have to come back to that later. I keep saying we have to come back to things later, but don't worry, this place does have something we can use to do some of that. These statues breathe fire. Their pattern isn't that hard to get down, but I tend to get a little impatient and try to rush through it the first chance that I get, so sometimes I end up taking a little damage here. It's not too bad. This place is giving me plenty of hearts in the jars. Enemies can drop hearts, but they tend to drop gems instead. I'm getting achievements here. I hope that's not too distracting. I don't even know what the achievements I'm getting are. But I had a version of this game on the phone before, and got a newer version of it. I'm going to leave that chest for a second because I know about a treasure over here. I got a bunch of achievements on the version that I had before, and I haven't gotten them all back again, so... yeah, this is just a little secret room with some extra money in it. And there's a few of those around. In fact, with this treasure chest, something to be aware of is that... Sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble with this control stick trying to duck and everything. With this treasure chest, when you open it up, key drops down, you want to hold left or right when you fall down this hole, because there's some money jars right here. And then you can go down and get the key. We've only seen one locked door so far, so there's only one place that this can take us. Guess I can go through there. Okay, here's a knight. These guys have big shields that block your attacks. They make shockwaves along the ground. A trick I figured out is that if you jump and hit the helmet, then they cannot block you. So... if you're having trouble waiting for them to drop their shields, that's what you do. Got another save guy within the dungeon here. I'm doing pretty good on time. I think I can get through this dungeon. Shoot. These platforms will flip over when you hit them, and the ones in this dungeon are at a nice level that she can use our hair whip for it. There are a few puzzles later in the game where you've got things like these that you can't do that to, so you have to find another way. something worth knowing, I mentioned that I'm playing this on my phone. The DSi version, and I might call that the 3DS version because I have a 3DS that I play it on, but it really is the DSi version. DSi version is a little bit more, a little bit trickier than the phone version. They toned down a few things for the phone to make up for the fact that the phone has slippery controls. So there are some platforms that are easier. There are a lot of enemies that take less hits to kill than on the 3DS version. See, I did it right there. I can't go up there yet, so... So if you have to choose one or the other, the DSi version is a little more expensive, but I definitely recommend that one just for the easier controls. And it's not like it's more challenging or anything, it's just that it's more, they suited it to whichever device you're playing it on. So that's pretty nice of them. I mean, you can kind of tell that this is a port, that it has like the border around the edge of the screen at all times, but it's not like they just slapped it on here and said, okay, end of the day. When we get to some points where they actually change the platforming, I'll point it out to you, because I know a few spots that are like that. I don't think we can go back up the way we came now that I think about it. I think we fell down a place that was just too tricky. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that those platforms are easier in this game. I won't swear to that, but I think those are easier for the iPhone version. Now we've got two of these guys. Something really nice that, well, I've heard this pointed out about the first game at least. I haven't actually played the original Game Boy Color game yet. But something that's nice about it is that when they give you mini-bosses like those night guys, they give you a few of them in the same dungeon, but they always make the situation a little different. This is just a weird little puzzle where you have to break away the right parts of the block, by the way. But, They might lay out the room differently, or they might give you two instead of one. And it just makes it so you have to think about it differently each time. Yeah, this puzzle is just like you make the correct shape with that by breaking away every block that you can. Enemies appear, you beat the enemies, and you walk away with the key. Oh, and then this room has more bad guys, I forgot about that. But yeah, the first Shantae game for the Game Boy Color, it has a very famous Let's Play by a Let's Player named Brick Road, and he is actually has special thanks in the end credits for this game because that Let's Play was very famous and it got the series quite a bit of attention. So if you're interested in seeing the first game, I would recommend checking that out. I don't have a copy of it; they're kind of hard to come by, and I can't do recordings directly from my computer, which is why I'm using my phone for this. If you saw my setup, you would be probably crying. But as long as the videos look nice, it doesn't matter how I have it set up. But I won't be able to do the first Shantae game anytime soon, so if you're interested in seeing it, I definitely recommend checking out Brick Road's Let's Play. That was what got me interested in the series in the first place. So, I'm pretty much just going through the motions of this dungeon at this point, so I apologize if this is not too exciting, that I'm not commenting on very much of what's going on here. Okay, we just got into another room that we can't get out of normally. And these spirits are kind of interesting. I know that if you talk to someone in Scuttletown at the right time, they comment about these kind of things, and they do take on the shape of whoever approaches them. So it's not just that these spirits happen to look like Shantae, it's just that when Shantae looks at them, they look like Shantae. Okay, monkey dance. This is something that I forgot to mention before, is that Shantae is a belly dancer. And half genies tend to have very strange powers. So Shantae's strange power is that she can transform into animals by belly dancing. So if I can show you her poses right here. In this game, she just has 3 different poses, and depending on which one you stop dancing, she transforms into the animal, but you have to unlock them first, so all I can do for now is the monkey. Monkey can climb on walls, and it jumps a little bit higher than Shantae does normally, but it can't attack. So I'm going to be playing Shantae in her human form, human half-genie form, but I'll use the monkey when it's appropriate. So in the Game Boy Color game, the dancing was a little bit more... It was a cross between playing the ocarina in Ocarina of Time and a rhythm game like DDR. You have to press the buttons at just the right time. So if you've ever played Wind Waker, imagine using the baton in Wind Waker, except you don't get to hold the direction when it passes over the marker like it does. So these walls that have the rigid edges I can't climb on, so I have to be doing a little bit of some tricky jumping right here. I would think that the walls that are smooth would be the ones that you can't climb, and the walls with the ridges would be the ones that you can, but, you know, it works. It's at least a good visual cue on these ones are different, you cannot do this. So here's a good treasure opportunity. I know that there's a little secret right over here. You can get up here, you can get a couple of jars of treasure, you can go back up where we need to go. But I'm going to go back down for now because there's more treasure in here. If you were doing a speedrun of this game, you might go up through just this first passage and accept a little bit of treasure because, let me tell you something, I've done the fastest speedrun they require you to. It is difficult. And I guess I can explain a little bit more about that. This game has 4 different endings, and when I say endings, I just mean they show you a different picture at the end as a congratulations for what you do. It does not affect the story. First ending is just the standard one, you get through the game. Another one is if you find everything, you get a different one. If you find everything and you do it in, I think it's less than 4 hours, but it could be less than 3.5 hours, I'm not really sure. You get a different ending for that, and I can get that treasure chest now. And the last one, if you finish the game in 2 hours, then you get a different ending. It doesn't matter how much stuff you collect. And that one is a beast, I'm not gonna lie. I have had to go like jumping over enemies and completely skipping them. I'm having a lot of trouble crawling right now. See, this is why you want the DSi version. But I like had to jump over enemies, memorize all the pathways. It's insane to try to finish this game in 2 hours, but it's possible, and I've done it before. So if you do get this game on the DSi, it's a little bit pricey, so you do want to play through the game more than one time. So it's kind of a good thing that those challenges are there like that. So we saw this hole in the ceiling over here. Wasn't able to get to it, but now that I can climb on walls, it's easy enough. So I've gotten 2 magic gems from this dungeon. When we go back to Scuttletown afterward, the lady who made the magic gems says that she's sure that the Squid Baron stole 3 of them. That's true, there are 3 in this dungeon, but the 3rd one we can't reach, at least not yet. We would have to backtrack for it. So it's pretty much just a clue to remind you, hey, you might need to come back later. So it's kind of cool. It's not very deep because it's easy to get to once you're able to, but it's just nice that they throw in some backtracking, things like that. And I'm gonna save it every opportunity I can. I don't expect anything to go wrong, but this is the first time I played the phone version in a while, so you never know. We've been in this room before, but once you have the monkey dance, you can just crawl up along the ceiling through this kind of cool little dark area and just skip the room altogether. So it's nice that they kind of reward you like that. Down! Why am I having so much trouble with down? I could go up there just now, but I know ahead of time that I need a key, so I'm not going to waste time by crawling up there. So there's a little hole in the wall right there that we can get to now that we can do this. And, right, different button. I'm used to the DSi version where you use the same button to transform and transform back, but here it's slightly different. So I don't know exactly what we're making here. Is this like some kind of beast, or... these enemies take 4 hits in the DSi game, but they only take 3 here. So just an example of a minor difference that they made to accommodate for the virtual controller and everything. I actually, for 1 second, forgot that that chest appeared. The way that I have to record this, I'm hearing the sound with a little bit of delay from what I'm actually playing, so I didn't hear the chest appear until about 1 second after it did. Oh, Shantae can crawl, but the monkey is like twice as fast as crawling, so anytime you have the choice of crawling or using the monkey, it's probably faster to use the monkey. Her crouching animation is the same as it was in the last game, and it's a little bit famous because it looks like she's a cat ready to pounce or something. The monkey can climb chains, so I'm going to go ahead and switch now because I think that might be a little bit easier. It's easier to do the platforming as the monkey since it jumps a little bit higher and everything, and it can climb the walls. It can climb up and down. I just do the jumping method of climbing because that's a little bit faster. And this was the last door in the dungeon. The boss room is straight ahead. These jars never have money in them, and I've got full health and full magic, so I am not interested. This is going to be weird, I'm sure. So, there is a spell that would be pretty helpful against this guy that I did not buy yet. So I just have to whip him into submission. Oh, that sounded much worse than I thought it was going to. Okay, so when he eats like that, that's a cue that he's going to do this charge, and that's a cue that you should use the monkey to get up on the wall to avoid him. The bosses in this game, for the most part, are pretty simple, with the exception of the final boss. The final boss is crazy hard. So that if you really like bosses, this might be a little bit disappointing, but you can kind of challenge yourself with which items you allow yourself to use. There's an achievement for this one for just using the slowest spell that you can get at this point. He does sometimes do a single charge instead of 5 charges, but he doesn't eat his tasty meal before that, so this boss is pretty silly. I don't know exactly how many times I have to hit him, but I'm guessing I'm wearing him down, and usually it's just kind of a surprise that all of a sudden he's gone, because they don't really give you a life bar for the bosses here. I can hit him a few times before he starts to charge. Yeah, every time he uses an attack, he takes out his own babies. Why does he do that? Is he using some kind of squid magic to summon them in the first place? Shoot. He is sturdier than I thought he was. He's gotta be about done, doesn't he? Oh, shoot. There we go. Why did he explode? Did he have a bomb strapped to his tentacles? I don't know. Alright, there's the magic seal that we're looking for, and it's very, I guess it's supposed to be Castlevania style. We already got a Castlevania reference, so we know that the people who made the game like it. And then as soon as we get out of there, Risky Boots shows up. So, it's pretty much just a race, and she's not going to try to steal it just yet. But this is a good spot for me to leave off this episode, so see you next time, and we'll figure out where to go from here.